PBA50 Pasco County, Florida Open. Stepladder final right now, live on Xtra Frame. Craig Elliott with Tom Carter again here in the booth. Welcome back, Tom.
I'm glad to be back.
We're a little shy of the 171 titles we had last year in this Stepladder. We have 43 this year, but a familiar face.
As always.
With Ron Mohr again.
As always.
He was just here not too long ago in the championship match.
In the PBA60.
Yeah, against Tom Baker, and he's here. He's got to run a stepladder, and we can take a look back at what happened in that championship match. Ron got up in the 10th frame, needed a double and 9 minimum to force a roll-off. As we see, just through the first two really, really good. Gets up here in the 10th frame, and he's even thinking, I know I only need 9. I'm sure I can get that. Strike is a win. It's been 5 years since he was able to win after 8 titles here in PBA50 competition.
And leading 6 tournaments last year. Yes. He knows he's going to win this. He just pured 2 shots. I just need 9, you know. And at the bottom of the swing, it looks like he just missed it a little bit, and you're going to get to see the results.
Yeah, it looked good at 50 feet. He liked it, but comes up a little light. 7 count. Tom Baker wins the title. We reset. We have a couple more days of qualifying, and we're right back here again in a stepladder with Ron Mohr.
And it's kind of unusual. I had to ask him. I said, so, you know, you've led so many tournaments. What's it going to be like coming from the 4th position? And he said, I'm actually more relaxed right now. So sure. I think it's going to be a good tournament for him. He's coming from a different position, and he likes his look.
Well, you know, he's taken it in stride. It's been a while since he's won. He's newly married, newlyweds. It's only been about 20 days. Congratulations to them. But he's got some work to do now. He wants that title. We want to see him, but he's got a lot of work to do. He's got 38-time titleist Norm Duke to get past first.
He's got to get past Norm Duke. Then he's got to meet Stoney Baker, who's new in the finals. But he's got 25 regional titles. It's not like he hasn't won before.
Yeah, and then we've got Michael Haugen Jr., a rookie, his first tournament, qualifying 2nd out here on PBA50 competition.
I bowled with him and talked about being lined up. That boy is lined up. Then he's got to meet a red hot, that's an understatement almost, Brian LeClair that averaged almost 250 for the tournament.
Yeah, LeClair took the lead, I think, in game 3 of qualifying and just never looked back. He just put his foot on the gas, and he was in his own tournament here.
Yeah, and he didn't even think he was going to bowl because he thought he was hurt. I'd like to be that hurt.
You know, we hear that once in a while from guys out here on the 50. Oh, I'm not feeling good. I'm going to take the week off, and then they lead the tournament or win. So I think they're playing possum a little bit.
I think most of us, if we got up in the morning and thought we were hurt, we would never bowl.
Well, that's true, yeah. So we've got a great stepladder coming your way, live here from Lane Glo Bowl. It's been a great 4 or 5 days of action so far, and we're ready to get underway with our first match. Looks like they've got a few more practice shots. Ron Mohr, the 4 seed. Norm Duke, the 5 seed. As we mentioned.
And Ron's got a little experience on this pair because this was the TV pair that we used for the PBA60. And that right lane had a little bit of a hang spot for him. And I think maybe either he adjusted to that or he's going to make an equipment adjustment to that.
Well, he was just on this pair in the position round as well. Of course, that was an hour ago. They re-oiled a little different. But interesting, and we talked about it in position round. In the 8th frame on lane 24, when he could have sealed up the match, he had another one of those 7 counts like we saw in his fill ball of the title match. So you just wonder what's going through his head on lane 24. And we won the match. He got up and moved up a spot, but he had that same thing happen to him that happened on Monday.
And you got to know that gremlin is back there somewhere, in the back of your head going, just don't miss right, which can cause you to miss way left.
Right. But, Ron's obviously a professional. He's very accomplished, won a lot.
Well, and he's bowling Norm, which came from like the middle of the pack, and his first 3 games were like 255, 58, 79, and he just started leapfrogging everybody to get to here.
Norm made a big run, made a great run yesterday. He's finished 2nd 3 consecutive years in this tournament. That's almost hard to believe. So he wants it. Take a look at Norm yesterday in qualifying. This was the game that really got him on the roll. That's a great shot.
He threw like that all day. Showing that show up, he just had a great look. We're going on a 43-foot pattern. Ball gets down to, depending on the time of day, but it's getting down to about 8, down to break point, and just rambo the pins.
Shot 300 that game. I think it might be 3 or 4 of the block. He walked backwards. He was over goals. That was it. He just took off. Great look today. Here he is in the 5 spot. All business right there.
First shot of the tournament of the Stepladder finals.
Look at those eyes. Determination.
Oh, we got away with that. He crossed 10 at the arrows there and took it out, clear out to like 4 or 5, which is normally a little bit too far. You can see it down lane. He's got it a little farther right than he thought, and he gets that light mixer.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if he missed right or not, because we saw Ron Mohr at the end of practice getting it even a little bit farther right, and that's not something we've seen all week long. So we'll see how that plays out here, if that was a miss or they intentionally are trying to do that. There's our answer.
Hang spot. Well, at least he decided not to finish on that lane.
I like the ball choice for Ron. It's going to restore a lot of energy, and it can make that good turn, but
it's definitely going to
home 10 pin there.
It's going to rev faster in the oil, and it's going to should turn harder when it hits the back end, being an asymmetrical pearl. And he just gets that opening shot out of the way, you know, and he knows he's bowling a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer himself.
No question.
He was throwing the Sherlock in practice, and you called it. He said, you thought he should throw this. You must have went out and repped him.
I didn't, but if he didn't change, I might have run out there real quick and just said, excuse me, sir. You know, we talk about a lot. It's different what we see back here from our vantage point from the cameras and what you see, you know, 60 feet from the pins. And it makes a difference when you're watching that ball motion from a different angle. I mean, you see it when you're repping out there, when you're up here, you know, in this part of the
When you're back
center.
here, you can see so much. You can see the ball, what it actually crosses and where it gets to. And a lot of times, you know, at the foul line, you think it might have hit something and went somewhere else. And your perception of what the ball did is totally different from what the guys see back here. And, you know, the reps, and that's what we're here for, is to get the guys in the right area of the lane to make sure they're throwing the right stuff, no matter what they're seeing.
Yeah, they're getting out to 5-6. Ooh, 4 pin comes forward.
And that's the ball that he threw today. He said he threw a lock. But there's definitely a hang spot on that right lane down there. He just doesn't want to face up to the pocket. And that makes you want to try to help it a little bit when it doesn't quite turn. And that's when you get into trouble.
But I think that's why the ball choice for Ron's going to be just a little bit, give him a little more room to miss, because it will retain a little more energy, whereas Norm's kind of quit on him a little bit. Yeah.
Well, obviously Norm's throwing a little bit more surface, and the ball it definitely has to slow down in order to strike. But if it slows down too much and it hits a little bit of a hang spot, that's like double trouble. They seem pretty easy on the left side, on the left lane rather.
Yeah, and he was watching this. Watch the pin action here. Watch how this ball just goes straight back where it's supposed to. Splits the 8-9, and Norm's watching it all the way through. That's what he likes to see.
Well, that's because he does it so much. You don't get that many titles by not seeing that.
No. Look at those eyes. That's determination.
He watches ball motion, and you try to teach that to the young people and everybody that we coach. That is so important to watch ball motion, because if you don't understand how your ball's rolling and getting to the end of the lane, it's hard to make an adjustment. He might, and I hate to say this, but he might be letting that right lane get in his head because he knows there's a hang spot there.
He liked it. That was a good shot, just a ring 10, unfortunately. But look at the look on his face.
Yeah,
man, he really liked that.
And the game goes by so fast. He doesn't have a lot of time now, you know. And you can't let Norm get too far ahead, because it's not like he makes a whole lot of mistakes.
Yeah, his odds are slim that a Hall of Famer is going to give you a chance to get back in the match.
Once in a blue moon. Maybe. He might go back to that Sherlock on the right lane. What do you think?
Definite possibility. You know, 2 10 pins to start. They both have a nice look here on lane 23.
Ron always looks so calm as he's getting ready to throw. And his ball does that most of the time. It hooks up, sets, it just travels through the pocket at such a great angle. That's why he leads every tournament. His ball literally hook sets at the pocket. If you can get hook set, you never really worry about the ball going too high. You know, for guys that have a whole lot of continuation on the back end, their ball's like up in the face, 4-9, big 4.
That's left to target.
That was more up and at him than anything else.
That's where I thought he'd be throwing the ball to start the match. And
He crossed like 11 at the arrows and hit 9, so that ball was way tighter than the first shot over there.
So, Tom, when this happens, he missed left, obviously, but it was dead flush. Do you throw that in the same spot again?
Well, you can think about if you know. There's a lot of times all of us have done it. Made a shot that you thought was bad, and it turned out good, and sometimes the light bulb goes on and goes, "Hey, maybe you ought to be throwing it there,"
Right?
You know, and you move to that spot. But then there's always a thought, "Oh, that was just terrible. I can't do that again." And then you try to throw it where they've been throwing it in ring 10. He really thought that was, and that might be the best thing to do on that right lane is kind of go up and at him, because if you give it away, we see what happens.
Yeah, take that hang on a play. Norm Duke front 4 against Ron Mohr in the opening match.
Reset front 5.
That was a pretty shot. Watch the ball motion here.
Well, that's kind of the ball motion everybody likes to see. The ball goes actually away from the pocket, makes a beautiful turn on the back end, and just rolls through the pins. You know, you got 10 in the pit. If you're not good at going up and at them, and we got a player coming up that is pretty good at going up and at them, and he might think that an advantage on that right lane. But that's hard for some of us to do. Like Ron's ball kind of goes right off his hand a little bit. You know, it never goes straight up the lane. He went even farther right, and he's in trouble.
Yeah, you can't do that with that ball, unfortunately. But he's just trying something, right? And you saw that ball just squirt at 30 feet.
You know, that's kind of funny, you know, because he was worried about the ball squirting. Why you get even more room to the right? Because that's kind of a thing you probably wouldn't want to do.
The guy that Tom Carter was just talking about likes to go up and at him, Michael Haugen Jr.
Yes, I crossed with him.
He can
this
play straight.
Oh, my God, and he lit him up. And he literally was – it looked like he was hitting replay on some of those games. He hit the same board, the same crack every shot, and it was effortless for him.
And watching Ron Mohr's facial expressions and how he attacks this match, I think it's a good lesson for everybody, because the left lane, they've got the left lane. The right lane's one that's tough, even for both players. But somehow you just got to put that out of your mind, right? So, you know what, I got this one figured out. You can't let that cloud your judgment on this lane, knowing that you have issues on the other side.
Right, and he knows he can shoot. If he gets the ball on the left lane, he knows he can shoot 250. He can finish this out.
And he'll get to finish on 23, so that's the benefit.
Yeah, he's just got to hope that Norm gives him a break. But he's got to figure out something for that right lane. And we'll see if Norm goes up and at him this time, but I think that might be the way to go on this right lane. You got to get away from that hang spot somehow. That was farther right down lane than the shot that he didn't like. Because he crossed basically 10 on the one he struck, and that was definitely like 8. So even when you do get a break, you want to go back and throw what you like to see. Your eyes want to see a certain motion, and then that's when you get comfortable. When you see that motion, your swing loosens up. But when it's not working, you got to do something different. So Ron's going at 250. Norm can shoot 279, and the match is definitely not over. I think on the left lane, all they have to do is they could just put in their score. You know,
It's looking like they got that one dialed in pretty nice. Well, that was still more of a 10-8, a little more direct.
you know, Norm still, he's over there trying to get his hand to do the right thing. He does a lot of visualization, you know, to make sure that his body does the right thing. He throws 16-pound equipment. It's like half his body weight. Well, can we say that high works better than trying to actually hit the pocket?
And that wasn't a whole lot different than the last shot at the 30-foot mark, really. I mean, a board?
Yeah, it was in a board, but the ball definitely read harder on the back end and went high. Norm's ball was up and at him and went high, but both of those shots carried. When they actually hit the pocket, they're leaving 10 pins. It's got to be a hang spot, topography, the lane just kind of maybe down lane tilts a little bit one way. Whatever it is, the ball looks like it almost picks up speed and never makes the turn on the back end.
You see a veteran move from Ron there. He wasn't re-racking because there was a pin-out spot. He just wanted to take a little extra time, compose himself, and go back at it here because he knows this is a must strike. That's way right.
That is very uncharacteristic of Ron Mohr. And this is unfortunately going to be another top 5 finish that he's not going to win. We said it at the last show, that's got to be getting under your skin a little bit. But on the good side, for most of us, we'd be tickled to death. How many top 5 finishes I made?
Right.
You know?
But Ron's out here to win. And there's you know, if you're not first, you're last, right? I mean, that's the quote we've heard before, but that's why he's here. Boy, I'm not sure what happened there. It looked like he just kind of really got maybe his feet ahead and tried to pull it back and lost it early.
Well, he goes through the swing. It looks like so hard sometimes. He might overthrow it just a hair. Norm figures something out on this right lane, or if this right lane happens to open up down lane a little bit, Norm's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, Stoney Baker warming up and waiting for the winner of this match as he just came down to take a peek at what's happening. He's got to have some butterflies going through right now.
Yeah, again, you know, this is his first time in this situation, even though he's got 25 titles, regional titles. He knows how to win. But now you're on the big screen for the national title. Something you plan for forever. Unfortunately, Ron now just going through the motions just to get this match over with.
And the bad news is this ball will strike no matter where he throws it because it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't count now.
I mean, there's no way this ball doesn't strike. Kind of like the last putt on the 18th green. Well, it didn't.
You're like a black cat. You got a little of that Nelson Burton Jr. in it.
He's going to have some memories from lane 24. And
Hasn't missed a spare all week. Missed a
No.
spare. You know, and I know he's even more frustrated because they got practice on this pair. He thought he had it figured out. The lights come on. Not so much.
Oh, like I said, I like his ball choice there. But it just comes down to execution.
Now I wished he would have thrown the other ball just so we could have seen. But he obviously felt like this was going to give him more on the back end. I think he could strike all day on the left lane.
Norm Duke out of Claremont, Florida will advance to the next match to take on Stoney Baker out of Canton, Georgia. Stoney, his first TV show on the national level.
Yeah.
Best place finish 6th so far in his career.
last year he had a couple shots of making some shows, and he missed by 30, 40 pins because he made bad decisions in the position round game, which allowed him not to make the show.
Yeah, 3 top 10s last year.
Yeah, he made a better decision, obviously, the position round game this time to make the show. Now it's just to see how, he reacts. He's bowling one of the greatest bowlers that ever picked up a bowling ball. So he's got to do what he does. He's going to be playing a completely different line. He has all week than everybody else. Got kind of a slow hook, smooth little roll going on. A nice 215, but definitely not enough to take Norm Duke out. Norm going with a possible 279.
So we know Norm's throwing this same ball all day. Does obviously not yet, but is he going to try something else here on the field? Because he won't get practice on this pair, right, between games?
He doesn't get practice. Stoney gets to come in. Now he can practice on the pair next to him if he just wants to stay loose. But you would think that you might want to throw something different, or definitely try a line change. Try to attack him a little bit different, a little more ball speed, maybe a little loft. Do something different to see that because you got a couple breaks on that right lane. It's pretty amazing watching him bowl. He can take one of the most hookingest balls out, hook the lane with it, then turn around and kill it dead straight to throw a spare. Like, really?
Yeah, he's one of the best that never needs to carry a plastic ball. He can just flatten it out at those 10 pins all day long, or whatever single pin he's shooting at.
Maybe he has figured something out on the right lane.
258, 215. Norm Duke advances to take on Stoney Baker in the next match.
So Stoney Baker is going to receive 6 shots before we start match number 2. And I know you were all rooting for Stoney before. And so Norm Duke is from Florida, though. So he might be the state favorite. And maybe Stoney, being the Southern Regional member that is a 2-time South Region Bowler of the Year, maybe he's the favorite, too. They both bowled 300, so you guys are awful quiet out there. You can root as loud as you want. Pick your favorite player and root them on.
Plugged in. Pardon me for just a moment, sir. Take that chair back. All connected here. Let's go get
By the way, my cell phone just went off, and it's a little quiet in here, so everybody might want to check their cell phone, make sure it doesn't go off while one of the players is in their approach. So I just call
me right in the middle of the approach. Just to see if mine's on.
John, slow him down. Tips from Norm. How can I help?
We're good now. Something got unplugged.
Let's plug back in. We're good.
Couple more shots for Stoney Baker here, looking for his first title at the national level. 22 regional titles on the PBA Tour, 3 on the PBA50, but this is a little different.
This means a lot more than all of those. I know it does, because he would love to have a banner on that wall out there.
South Region Player of the Year. He is going against none other than USBC and PBA Hall of Famer Norm Duke, also a 300 shooter. It should be a great match. Norm is up.
Well, he looked nervous.
It was kind of funny just watching him practice there. He was a little amped up. He's panicking, looking all over for his bowling ball, and it was on the rack already. So you know he's a little bit nervous.
But a good move. He's been paying attention because he's going to make Norm finish on lane 24.
Well, 23 hasn't changed any. They seem to be locked in on that lane. Stoney's going to be throwing a totally different ball. Norm's throwing the lock. Looks like Stoney's going to be throwing a sure lock.
Just a little more aggressive cover.
Yeah, a little more aggressive cover. Just by looking at it real quick, his pin's a little bit off to the right of the ring finger. The ball's going to start up a little sooner. He's got a little bit more surface. Norm's pin's dead at 12 o'clock, right over the bridge. Normally that makes the ball go a little longer and flip a little harder. And I think nerves just got to him in his first shot.
Yeah,
because in practice he drilled the right lane, so I thought he had a good look on the right lane, but he might have cut that one a little bit short. The biggest thing he told me, I was asking him early, is like, you know, what's going through your mind? He goes, I just got to post shots. If I post shots, I'll be all right. I just got to post.
Well, he started out match play here today 9-0, and it was just going through everybody. But unfortunately, it starts with an open frame here to a Hall of Famer.
Well, you definitely can't give Norm a free 10 pins or 11 starting out of the gate.
Yeah, 10-2 overall match play record, 9 consecutive match wins to start the day, 300 yesterday in qualifying. He's done about all he can here in this event, but now he's got to buckle down and try to figure out how to be one of the best ever.
And he's attacking the lane a little bit different than Norm. He's a little more archy through the front part of the lane, a little right off of his hand, so he's got more of that C shape going down the lane, where Norm's a little straighter through the front part. But it's worked for him, obviously, all week. It's just a matter if he stays firm enough with that ball on the show here. I think once he gets over the nerves after, you know, but we're talking 3 frames, and it's normally a 10-frame game. He's going to make it a 7-frame game.
Well, and this is where the guys that have been here before, they just have their routine, right? You throw the ball, you sit down, you go through whatever. You see Ron Mohr, he wipes the ball the same way every time. And that keeps you from thinking too much about what could or couldn't happen.
And the greats like Norm, Pete Weber, Walter Ray, Parker Bone, their mental game is so strong. You know, they just don't have a lot of other things going on. And unfortunately, Stoney being the first time here, he might have a few extra gremlins up there talking to him.
And you saw that last shot strike from Norm, but
that was like the first shot.
Didn't go to the pins the way he wanted.
Yeah, well, it was high like that very first shot against Ron Mohr. It was like he was up and at him. He thought it was going to go high, and it was high flush, and it struck. Classic style of Norm. Post, and he watches that ball all the way down. You preach and preach and preach and lessons to people to stay posted and watch your ball motion because it's important. It's extremely important. That was a little unique. He got it right early, and I wasn't quite so sure that that ball was going to actually make the turn, but then it actually hooked up early. He got it right off his hand a little bit quick, but high flush seems to be the way to go on the right lane. Get that first strike in the books, maybe loosens up a little bit. That was a beautiful shot there. Nerves are settling down. I had heard a comment actually yesterday about Stoney. He was talking to a friend that he thought maybe he needed to change his game because he didn't know if he could compete out here with the game that he had, with all the greats that are out here. Obviously, that's not true.
And these are the types of finishes, regardless of how he finishes off this tournament, that helps that confidence. First tournament of the season, you make the show, you get rid of those thoughts in your head.
Yeah. Maybe my game's not so bad.
Not like he doesn't know how to win. He's won a lot on the regional tour. You know, a couple dozen times combined. So that's not like he can't win or doesn't know how to win, but you need that confidence at the next level.
That's 2 in a row that Norm has went high flush on. Maybe that what we might have thought was a mistake, he learned from it and goes, if it's going to strike from there, let's just do that. If anybody's ever picked up a Norm Duke ball, you might slice your fingers on the fingers and thumb.
Well, not many of us could because it's a very short span and small fingers.
It's a short span, true, but the finger holes and the thumb hole are razor sharp. You just learn not to squeeze when the holes are that sharp. He doesn't bevel at all.
Yeah, there's a few guys out here. I think Barnes is another guy like that, tight and with no bevel, and a few guys. But yeah, I'm not sure about that myself.
Dave
but
Houston,
you can't squeeze.
No, you can't squeeze.
But
it'll most people right at the base of the thumb, they go, "Oh, I'm getting sore right there." Well, the only reason you're getting sore is you're grabbing on it. Well, it looks like the person that figures out the right lane is the person that's going to win this tournament. It wasn't as high as this last shot. We talked about it earlier. Your eyes want to see it really hit the pocket the right way. But sometimes the right way isn't what carries. Now, there's houses around that actually, if you line up for half pocket, you are going to strike more than if you just try to hit the pocket.
sure.
One thing you can't let happen, you can't let frustration set in because he's not striking, because then it's going to just end up all bad. Norm shooting a possible 300 again to another 258 possible. Seems to be the going numbers today.
You know, early on in qualifying in day one, it sure didn't look like it was going to be a high scoring pattern, but we've seen some pretty good numbers because these guys figure it out. Right? I mean, yeah, you had practice, but once you get that first block of competition on your way.
It's funny because you always hear guys complaining, and I don't care what level it is, that the pattern was messed up or the shot was bad, and you just, you know, all kinds of different excuses. But I haven't gone to a tournament yet that somebody hasn't won. I don't know why that is.
somebody can figure it out all the time. Yeah.
Somebody's won every tournament I went to, you know. And it's the guys that keep level-headed, you know, stay in the game, pick up their spares. Spares count. And they don't realize how much, you know, when you get a pattern like this, we had 14 games with a no re-oil. So those last 7 games, they got pretty doggone dry. And we were in deep. We're playing 5th and 6th arrow. And you got to figure something out. But once the guys figured it out, the score started just climbing like crazy. Brian LeClair being one of them. He made it look like league. I thought he had a locker here. He averaged almost 250 for the day, for the tournament.
He bowled fantastic.
That one looked like it got off his hand a little quick. He didn't like that one quite as well. It was a little bit farther right than he wanted, and then the ball just doesn't make the turn when you get it right. It just, on 43 feet, we got oil to the outside that's never being used, and if your ball touches that, it just gets down the lane a little bit too far.
Yeah, this is the PBA50 chameleon pattern we've used here all week, and as Tom just mentioned, there was no re-oilers through qualifying. 14 games, 7 in the morning, 7 in the afternoon. And it seemed to hold up. And yeah, I mean, some guys got to 5th, 6th arrow, but that's about as far left as they ever had to go.
Well, you would have thought, you know, and it's kind of amazing after 14 games, we might be a little bit farther left than that because, you know, guys, you know, you hear guys in league go, my shot doesn't hold up for 3 games. How does it hold up for 14 games? And it did. I mean, the deepest I got, and I actually bowled well on the burn, 121 over. I ended up getting a check, and I played actually like 22, 23. It wasn't at the arrows. It wasn't that deep, actually.
Good shot from Stoney. Probably one of the best shots we've seen on lane 24. And I think the reasons, 2 reasons come to mind why you didn't get that deep was one, the rev rates aren't near as high, but also you guys are much smarter with surfaces. There's nobody out here throwing 500.
Well, yeah, you didn't see guys out here with, you know, a screen trying to get their ball with dust on it going down the lane. And the guys, the senior players always want to start farther right. I mean, because that's their literally, oh, that was a tough break there. That ball just came off the pattern too hard. They want to try to stay right if they can. So the senior players always start farther right, and they break them down as we go in. So it's not like the kids that have a high rev rate. They look for more oil up front, so they start in the center of the lane, and they just keep going left.
Right.
And right now we're fortunate. Great shot. Great shot.
I think Norm called that at about 50 feet, too. He knew he had it. Give something for the crowd to like there. How about a replay of this? Can you pick it up again? Yes, he can.
Textbook. And we don't have any two-handed players out here on the senior tour yet. It'll happen.
Well, Norm's pacing 249. Stoney Baker 226 max score. So Stoney's going to have to get some help. As we mentioned in the last match, Norm's not the guy that's going to let you back in.
No, and he's not going to be a nice guy and give you a shot, even if it is your first time. They don't care. They want another title. And they want the money. And for these guys, there's no, their mindset is winning is the only thing. You don't post a career like Norm Duke's got without wanting to win every time you put bowling shoes on.
And that pretty well makes it official. Just stay behind the foul line. There's not much Stoney Baker can do.
He's just coasting now. And he really got through that shot. And he's getting loose. The shot just seems, the lanes are definitely coming to him because he's just getting looser and looser. Stoney's got to be happy with how he bowled all week. And he was coming in with questions in his mind, and he bowled phenomenal, shoots 300. Stoney's got that kind of like a little shuffle step, a total different kind of approach than you see a lot of the guys. He's a little quick step with his feet.
Well, Stoney Baker last year at the Johnny Petraglia tournament up in Farmingdale, the BBL Open, his best finish ever of 6th. He definitely improved on that here this week.
Yeah, you just did the replay, and that's kind of like a shuffle step that he has right there at the end. 2, 3, and shuffle. He never really takes a step there. He's just kind of a shuffle step. A little bit different approach, but it really makes no difference what you do if you can repeat what you do.
It's almost like the Belmonte shuffle, but he's not a two-hander.
Right.
Very similar.
It's like that hop step that the two-handers have that generates power. We call it a power step when it's a actual short step, but his is more like a shuffle power step, but it works for him. Stoney strikeout composed at 206. Norm striking out 268. But that's got to give Stoney next week. We go to the Villages, bowling on Cheetah.
PBA50 version, which is a little different than what we see in some of the other events. But it's going to be high scoring.
It's going to be high scoring because it, that was a little right. He hit that fresh oil. It's going to be, and that's a no re-oil too, on Cheetah for 35 feet.
16 games worth, 2 8-game blocks.
2 8-game blocks. So there could be a little sparkage going on by the games 14, 15, and 16.
So Norm Duke looking to not finish second here again for the 4th consecutive year. Looking for that title here at Lane Glo Bowl. He will advance to bowl. And I almost feel guilty for saying this, PBA50 rookie, Michael Haugen Jr.
Yeah, how can you be a rookie at 50? And well, guys, we had them too, like Parker and Walter. I think they were rookie of the years in their career. Then they come out here and win rookie of the year. You can't be rookie of the year only one time.
Well, they did it, and it's going to be a great year this year with Ryan Schaefer, Michael Haugen Jr. as rookies with some pretty solid careers coming in. Should be a fun battle to see, and maybe somebody else can sneak in there and step up and try to.
I think in the Masters, Danny Wiseman turns 50. So we could have another one out here.
Wow. So we're waiting for something here for Norm to finish. Not sure what. Deadwood, it looks like. He knows the rules. You don't leave Deadwood in the lanes.
Yeah, that's definitely in play. Technically, it doesn't really make a difference.
I think he's asking John Weber, is that okay if I go, Mr. Weber?
Yeah, because he could throw it between his legs left-handed right now, and it really doesn't.
Break out the towel shot. Give the crowd something here.
Oh,
come on, Norm.
He could, the Mike Machuga flop. I would think that would hurt, you know?
Oh, I would have to.
Our next two, Michael Haugen, Brian LeClair. 1-2. Michael.
Norm Duke will advance to take on rookie Michael Haugen Jr.
Yeah, it was fun crossing with him. He threw a backup ball.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Norm Duke moves on and stuck with me 250s and 260s. Congratulations to Stony Baker. I believe that was Stoney's first top 5.
I guess that would come into play for bowling a left-hander, but there's no lefties in.
Well, he's just trying to show off. So Michael Haugen Jr. will get his practice shots. He will have lane choice, and I gotta believe he's going to make Norm finish on that right lane again. Has been pretty common and consistent here. But Michael Haugen Jr., rookie here on tour, 5-time PB Tour winner, Just picked up his 5th title last year at the Gene Carter's Pro Shop Classic, taking down Bill O'Neill 289 in the final match. Had a chance to shoot 300 to win the title.
He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. His game is so simple. He's fun to watch. He's great to bowl with. He's going to be on quite a few shows, I believe, this year.
You know, he's also got a major title, a 2008 Tournament of Champions, 23 regionals. He actually won his first PBA50 Tour event, the PBA50 Regional. So he's looking to become the first guy to win both PBA50 Tour stops that he bowled, a regional and a national stop.
Interesting stat.
Very interesting. So he wants to win, you know, and he's the guy, only 5 titles on a national tour. That's hard to believe. Almost as hard to believe that he's actually 50 because he's been around for a long time, seems to be always in there. And he actually has one of the more famous moments on national television. Not the 300 moment we've seen in the past, but let's take a look at
Coming
at
from
this here for a
52
second.
pins behind.
You had that nasty split in the 10th. How scared were you?
Well, a little bit scared. Anytime you give a guy a chance to double an attempt to beat you, it's out of your hands, and you don't ever want to do that. But, you know, I just did the math and said make sure you get 1, and then he has to throw 2 to beat you, and I got the 1, and luckily for me, he didn't double the attempt.
This is your 4th PBA Tour title. What does it mean for you to win in front of your family and your girlfriend, Fong?
Well, I got a different answer for you. Baby, will you marry me?
Yes! And she said yes. That is the best cherry on top. Congratulations to the newly engaged couple, Michael Haugen and his new fiancee, Fong, and for winning his 4th PBA Tour title.
You get the title and you get the girl.
It's a storybook ending. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And she said yes, in case we were all worried about that. But what a moment that was. He won his 4th title, and he made the promise to himself if he wins, he was going to propose, and he did. And what a moment that was, huh?
That was cool.
Fantastic. So if he wins now, what's the promise? How do you top that? No pressure, Michael Haugen, but
New
you kind
house.
of back yourself in a corner with that one.
New car, new house.
Yeah. We should check with PT and find out if there's what the promise is here. Yeah, pretty cool moment. Great to see him out here having great success early on, and he made quite the move up. He, you know, his first game he bowled down here on the height of the house. He shot 198. He came by the booth here, heading down to 5 and 6, and looked at us and said, "Wow, the moves are a little different out here." 268 game 2. He figured it out quick. The learning curve wasn't very long.
No, and he didn't stop from there. He just kept pounding them. If he lives to be 120, he could bowl at 120. His game is just so simple. Hardly any, just very few moving parts, and very repeatable.
Why did he just practice a 10-pin there? That was intentional. Just to check the approach?
Yeah, the approaches, some of the guys said they were having problems with the approaches. I mean, it's been nice and cool in here, but one in the house seemed to be a little bit stickier than the other. But a lot of that, I think, depends on your leverage and how you get to the line and how fast your feet are, you know. Obviously, we can change soles and heels to make up for that, but...
And he just did it again. That is, you only get 6 shots. That's extremely interesting. He picked 10 off one side, 7 off the other in his practice shots.
Well, I think maybe he might be worried in case he leaves one. He's a great spare shooter. I'm surprised he did that. He would assume that they were going to be the same, but maybe in the back of his mind, he just wanted to feel comfortable. That could be part of his pregame routine, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Could just be the routine. Interesting.
And if that's part of his pregame routine, you don't change that.
And here we go again. Norm Duke starting with strings every game. Defeated Ron Mohr and Stoney Baker the first 2 matches. Little conference with John Weber, our great tournament director.
Norm's definitely got something going on, his thought process on something. He's talking to himself.
How good is it for you guys out here to have John Weber running the show? He runs a tight ship, doesn't he?
He's priceless. Ooh, almost 710 at the first shot. And that was the easy lane so far the first 2 matches. John does a fantastic job. I don't know of a guy out here that doesn't think he's incredible. He puts in tons of hours. He does everything in his power to make it the tournament's just absolutely flawless.
Well, and he's got a pretty good helper.
Yeah, she's all right. She worries more about the tournament sometimes than I think that he does, but I don't know if that's possible.
And, of course, we're talking about the great Linda Carter.
Wonder Woman.
She's proven that this year with what she's gone through to be out here ready to go for tour, and we're happy to have her back.
Yeah, we didn't
and
know if we
healthy.
were going to make it this year.
Yeah.
She went through a little cancer spree there, but everything came out okay, and she's cancer-free, so
That's the best news we've heard in a long time.
we're here. And the motorhome's running. So, I mean,
that's pretty good news, too.
how much better can it get?
First shot in a national title stepladder match in the 52 for Michael Haugen, and, well, he's not worried about the hang spot on lane 24.
I think we mentioned earlier that he might be going up and at him a little bit, and that's up and at him.
That was 7 at the arrows, 9 at the rangefinder.
Yeah.
Pretty direct.
And I watched him do that for 14 games.
That one didn't look like he came off his hand quite right, did it?
No,
Flicked that one out there a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like he might have got a little fast. But if you watch, his last step is a heel-toe step where he doesn't slide. He actually plants. He has a rubber sole on his slide foot. Granted, he's got bowling shoes on, but they're rubber on both feet. You would think at a certain point that would be a little tough on your knee, and it might not be if your leverage is in the right spot. I got a good friend that I bowl with back home, Mike O'Hara. He's about 6'7", and he actually bowls in tennis shoes. He's got like a 7-step approach.
Yeah, Craig Thompson, another guy another big, tall guy that does that tennis shoes as well, I believe.
Yeah, Norm's got a little bit of a slide, and then Michael just dead plants and pulls through it.
The classic Norm Duke shot right there.
Norm, a little bit different release on that, because he actually arced that ball a little bit more instead of more up and at him. He kind of went around that ball. And I think Norm might be the master of wrist tricks, hand positions, to get the balls to do different things. Obviously, he can do a different position to make a ball go dead straight. So he has the unique ability to, if he needs to circle it a little bit, he can get his hand around it. The footwork of Michael Haugen is very heel-toe all the way to the line.
Can't argue with the results.
Nope. So the approaches really never come into play for him. He doesn't care if they're slick or sticky, I don't think, because he's walking it. Look at, if you watch that, it's heel-toe all the way.
You'd almost think that would cause knee and back problems at times.
Well, you would think it might cause a little bit of a knee problem, but his quad's got to be stronger than, it's got to be steel, actually. But he never really gets his shoulders too far forward over his knee, so that he's not putting undue pressure on his knee. His leverage is really, and it's all about leverage in this game, his leverage is really pretty good. It's kind of odd. Everybody's had unbelievable success on the left lane, and he's having the ball actually going a little bit longer on the left lane, not really getting up the hill. I asked Mike about the Tournament of Champions, what it was like coming from 52 pins behind to win. All he said was incredible. He goes, Dad always told me, unless it's mathematically impossible for you to win, you're still in the game.
Getting the crowd behind him now. Getting a little
Duke going on.
Getting a little fortuitous bounce, kicking that 10.
Look at that leverage.
He's thinking, I'm going to fist pump. No, I'm going to save it. Yeah, he teased us with a fist pump.
Leverage is the name of the game here. You get the ball to do the right thing through the front part of the lane.
Daughter had the baby. Everything's fine.
That's got to loosen you up too when you got the crowd behind you, and they're wanting you to strike.
We got to be a little critical because they're not real consistent with their Duke. They've got to. They need somebody to kind of get them, maybe a metronome or something up there. Because
do we need somebody out in front?
It's not very good. I'm just saying that.
We're seniors. What do you expect? Slow learners.
And interesting that Haugen's striking on this lane and has not struck on the left lane yet.
Yeah, the tough lane he has no problem with because he's literally up and at him. And that's what you need to do on that lane. I think that's just a better position to carry instead of the ball arcing in. But the up and at him isn't working as well on the left lane. Pretty smooth. Just rolls the ball dead up the back of it, keeps the ball on line.
Well, I got a feeling if Norm strikes here on this shot, we're going to see a fist pump, and he's going to have some fire in his eyes more than normal because we're going to have one heck of a match here. Well, much better Duke chant. Apparently they're quick learners.
Yeah. I don't know if it helped him out, though.
Yeah. I'm going to the 40, 45 footage. Ball just took off.
I'm going to be a little more critical, I guess. My job. On the left lane, when he posted that beautiful shot, body a little bit more upright. Leverage looked a little bit better. It looked like he wanted that shot so bad he got a little bit forward with it and pushed that ball down the lane a little bit too far. And it just never read, we might only be talking a few degrees in body position from one shot to the other, but it makes the ball do something different.
Well, and you were out there competing, so you didn't see where we're at, but we've seen that 2-4-8-10, 2-10, 2-4-10 combo on that lane a lot this week, and it is that little hang spot. And when you miss, it's not a washout, which you have a much better chance of making, or even though 1-2-4, it's that 2-4-8-10, which is just dead.
That with the combination, so we have lanes out here that. You don't have to throw it dead perfect, and the ball still rolls up that right lane, 24. You better be more technically correct because the ball doesn't make it.
And look at that last shot.
See, he was more upright that shot.
Yep.
He wasn't near as far forward.
That's
my final answer. I'm sticking to it.
I'm buying it. I smell where you're cooking. And look at that look at Norm. He's just like, how did I do that?
Somebody's going to Facebook me and tell me I'm crazy, but
he's not happy with himself.
Michael's been in this position before, and the way he thinks of stuff, right now, technically, he qualified second, but they're bowling for second, third right here. And the way he looks at it, I'm in third. Second's better. If he was in fourth, third's better. He just looks to climb the ladder. That's his mentality, and there's no quitting him. So he's going to be after it, every ball off his hand, and which he should be.
Well, Norm's still got 255 out there, and we know he can strike.
Look at that. Hey,
Haugen can go 260. The match far from over.
just right through the back of the ball, up the lane. That ball, his ball doesn't go right off his hand unless he chooses to make that happen.
So he very politely puts the pad on the keyboard there. That was
it's
very
nice to have
gentlemanly.
that talent to be able to change your wrist position. Well, I think I'll go up the back of the ball on this lane. I'll go around it on this lane. You need to put in some practice time to get that to where you can step on the approach and do it without thinking about it.
He's feeling it now. Oh, that crossed 10 at the rangefinder. That might be a little more direct there. But
he's
got the result he wanted.
Yeah, he's not giving it away. When you talk about not giving up the pocket, he's not giving up the pocket.
Big shot for Norm Duke. Boy, how many times has that been uttered on a TV show? Big shot for Duke, and he strikes. Posted it.
The right lane, he was like 11, 12, and he got it to like 9 down lane and it came back. That's kind of, I would say, uncharacteristic of that lane. But his leverage is better there. Shoulders right over the knee, through the shot.
And you hear the pin action out in the distance. Brian LeClair, our tournament leader, by a lot.
By a lot.
180 pins over Michael Haugen Jr.
For the most part of the day, he was 200 pins ahead of everybody after every match. It was like he just had to show up. Duke got that little right down lane, but it comes screaming back. More volume.
Simple result here. Easy bowling math. Michael Haugen Jr. 3 strikes, and he's going to bowl in the championship match.
Uh-oh. That was definitely left off his hand.
Not over. And look at, he pointed himself. He knew that was all him.
Yeah, the lane had nothing to do with this shot. He missed left from the get-go.
And not an easy spare attempt here, this 3-6-10. I remember seeing him made once on this pair all week long. Now twice.
Well, he didn't miss hardly any spares. I think he missed 1 in 14 games that I crossed with him. He definitely didn't give back any pins, crossing like 26 at the arrows. Just runs them down. You look at his ball, he's got a little stronger layout on it. Pin out, mass out with a hole. Get the ball to just a roll. Doesn't worry about it changing direction too much.
Next one gets him into 230s.
He's going to force Duke to at least step up to the plate. All depends if the right lane jumps out at him.
Well, I believe a strike here will force Norm to also strike the first ball on the 10th.
How does that messenger not take out the 10? It come across the lane standing up.
Get blocked by the 6? Is that what happened? Yeah, the 6 doesn't go out of the gutter and just did his goalie impression there and blocked it. Kick save. 227, Michael Haugen.
He's definitely not happy with that.
Well, 9 outs, 216, I believe, so still got to be a mark. Is that right?
He needs a mark.
Yeah, 9 misses, 222. He's got to have some sort of a mark here for Norm Duke to advance to take on Brian LeClair, our tournament leader for the title.
That's a mark.
Yeah. Yes, that is. About the best you can get. And one of his best shots of the Stepladder finals here on lane 24.
That's like 10 back. High flush. And I think that's the way you have to attack that lane. How you choose to get there is one thing, whether you hook it or you go straight, but I think it's got to be high flush. I'm surprised Norm hasn't tried a different ball just to see if he gets a different look on that lane.
Yeah, he's left that twice now, and yeah, same thing. Right at the range, the ball just wiggled.
He looked totally disgusted after he threw that shot.
Well, Norm Duke will advance to take on Brian LeClair. Michael Haugen Jr. not able to win in his first event here, like a few other players in the past. Mike Scroggs and Randy Peterson won their debuts. Haugen not able to do that. And that's kind of something he was really thinking about.
Yeah.
Still a good tournament, a good start.
It's a great start, to your rookie, finishing third your first tournament. That builds up points. He could be one of the guys at the end of the year that get to go out and that tournament champions thing that they have at the end of the year.
Well, yeah, and we haven't just talked. We've been talking rookie there, but I mean he's got a legit shot for player of the year too, with as good as he's going to be out here. So yeah, it's got a long tour, summer tour for.
We got a lot
Mr.
more
Haugen.
stops.
Yeah, a lot of stops. But Brian LeClair is going to get ready for his second title here on the PBA50 Tour, taking on Norm Duke, looking to get off that second place pedestal here at Lane Glo Bowl.
Yeah, and here, Norm's looking to get off the second place pedestal. Brian LeClair is just happy he was here. He wasn't even going to bowl this tournament. He was hurt. His back was hurt, and he didn't think he could bowl. He'd only bowled like 3 games coming into this tournament.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he wins this week, he's not going to practice before next week. Just maybe go bowl 3 games in league somewhere and keep that routine. But we'll be back here in just a couple minutes as Brian gets his practice shots in for the championship match. Brian LeClair, tournament leader out of Del Mar, New York, looking for his second PBA50 national title. He won his first one in Fountain Valley.
I remember that.
That's some emotion. You don't see that a lot out of Brian. He's pretty stoic and not on that.
I think it was, he was getting the monkey off his back, and he could finally, he was so happy. We actually were on the mic together. That was a big tournament for him. He was happy.
It's a good thing that he was watching where the cameraman was, because he might have just knocked him over. Brian's there's
another guy shot his
guy. Yeah. These guys have bowled together before. They both on tour for quite a while. Brian LeClair, 18 regionals, 4 PBA50 regionals, 1 National 50 title. Best finish last year, second in the same event that Stony Baker finished 6th. Johnny Petragna's event up in Farmingdale.
That's a couple weeks away.
It is. The Village is next week. Mooresville after that. Then on up to Farmingdale, New York, as the PBA 50 Tour is in full swing. And Nornduik again going to start on lane 23.
It's kind of funny, Brian, like I said, wasn't even going to bowl this tournament. He said his back hurt so bad. That is totally unexpected out of Norm.
Norm even took a couple practice shots on the adjacent pair there. And I think he was maybe trying something, looking for something different. That's not what he was looking for.
No, in the previous match, I mentioned that he went around the ball and it looked like he was opening up the lane a little bit. And maybe he just tried to open it up too much and obviously caught that out of bounds. But look at, he tried to hook the living devil out of that one.
Yeah, we've got a 50% make rate on this pair on that split.
Oh, so it's been made once?
Now it's 4 out of 9. Yes, we've had 4 out of 8, and now it's 4 out of 9, which is still a lot. But yeah, he's going after it. First frame, might as well try.
And Brian said his back hurt so bad that it actually fixed his leverage. He could actually stay behind his knees better, and it gave him better leverage. I said, so you plan on hurting your back before every tournament?
Got to have those routines. Wow. Even early on in qualifying in day one, LeClair just had that look. He had, sometimes you just get somewhere and you just match up, and he just seemed to really match up here well, and then just started making good shots.
Well, for most of us out here, it's hard to believe that he's 50, and he's such a big, strong guy that he just powers through it, and he's got more revs than probably 2 or 3 of us combined, and his ball hits so hard. It's just like it's an unfair advantage for. He's like all of us out here, though, that, if you make a shot and it doesn't strike, or you throw it and it's not pure, you kind of beat yourself up on the inside because, you think you should never make those kind of mistakes, but we're human. It happens. Did we switch pairs?
Yeah. Wow.
Uncharacteristic of Norm. Then now after the practice shots, he thought he was lined up, and this pops up. Oh, then not to even get one of them. I think he wants his title maybe a little too much. You got to relax. He's got to breathe.
Yeah, I mean, he missed that by a foot, even just getting count. Yeah, it's early on in the match, but boy,
you still don't want to give up a pin.
A pin's a pin, yeah.
Yeah. We always say it. Every pin counts, and
that just gives somebody like Norm even that little motivation. Well, he's gonna give me a free pin. Fine, I'm gonna take it.
I think we switched pairs, and I don't even know it because something happened during the practice that made this pair just go away. That ball just went dead sideways down lane. It didn't go high flush. It just went dead left.
I think he likes it, too. He's looking at it like, I think it's a good shot. Then that.
Well, at this rate, it's going to be an interesting title match. It's definitely not going to be a strike fest unless something happens here and they both take it off the sheet. It's a tennis match right now. I don't want it. You can have it.
You know, Norm has 38 titles, 7 majors, but we mentioned he's been second 3 times in a row here, 3 consecutive years. You think he's thinking about that?
No.
I don't know. Those last couple shots were very uncharacteristic.
Not to take anything away from our senior tour, but when you got 7 majors and you got 38
yeah. Total titles
and being on TV and stuff, I can't imagine him putting a bunch of pressure on himself just because he finished second here before.
But you can walk into a center. The center's always got your number. Maybe that's what he's thinking. I don't know.
Well, I can't have your number too bad to get to second, for God's sakes.
That's true.
Yeah, if you've never cashed in this center, it's got your number. Norm, 6'3", 7'2", 9. Shouldn't assume that it's not going to be a spare. But he kind of went up there wailing and flailing on that spare. You didn't know if he was sticking or what's going on.
A little different than earlier when it was high scoring, but we got a match here for sure.
I'm glad I didn't say something earlier because I was thinking this is going to be a 250-250 match or somewhere in that vicinity. It still could be some numbers if Brian gets lined up. That wasn't probably one of the strikes that he was thinking is going to be a real strong strike. Was the 5-pin the last one to go out?
Yeah, but that caught some serious friction down lane as well. So yeah, that lane is really getting funky right now.
Okay, I got to ask you. Brian LeClair does it. Tommy Jones does it. Actually, Wayne Webb does it. There's a lot of people that seem to do it. Thumb in first, cocked sideways, then reach up and grab the fingers. You go fingers first or thumb first?
Fingers first.
Okay. You ever tried thumb first?
I have not. I've heard some of the thinking behind it, so you don't bury your fingers and just grab a handful of it. It keeps your hand softer. But it's also shortens your span when you do that. So you have to do, if you're going to do either way, you have to do it that way all the time.
Well, I've tried both ways, and just here lately, we're putting the thumb in first on certain. Only when the lanes get really dry, and I haven't changed the span, but it does definitely get the ball down the lane a little farther. You obviously can't grab on it because you barely can get your fingers to it. Wow.
All those breaks Norm got in a few of the earlier matches, they're all just coming back to him.
Yeah, and he switched balls. He went to a Sherlock here. He went to something.
I like the move.
Yeah. He thought was stronger, and you can tell it's going through his mind. He's confused now. I went to a stronger ball that finished up higher flush, and it hit weaker. See 7-10s picked up on this pair?
No, not this week at all. Pins don't seem to fly a lot. We talked about that, I think, earlier today in qualifying. Scores were good. You get a lot of pin action, but we're not seeing a lot of pins pop out of the gutter. Not a lot of deadwood this week. Not a lot of pins just, scattering all over the place.
You see Norm's talking to himself about ball motion. The ball seems to be wiggling to him, not facing up the right way. .45 in the fourth. Unbelievable. Quick shout out to a good friend of mine, Tim Cobble. They couldn't be here. Got a national title. He's having knee surgery. Going to have a knee replacement. I want to say hello to all the guys.
We'll get healed up, Tim. Maybe catch us for the end of the tour, if possible.
Well, it'd be nice if we can get him out here. That lane definitely, I think, looks like, from our angle, it kind of wants to hook early and not hook at all on the back end.
Well, the last shot peeled hard off 7 and went high flush. That one was 8 and didn't get there.
Yeah,
at
well,
the 45-foot mark.
it looked like he moved in and he got into the puddle, which created too much push, and he didn't get enough of the friction. And it's just, he's confused, which I would be too, and you're halfway through the match. And that spares no gimme on this pattern.
Well, Norm did, what you have to do when he was lost. Just, make a ball change. Just do it. He hadn't thrown a different ball in any of their games. He just did a blind, and it wasn't a bad shot, 7-10. Brian, now, he struck last time in that lane, but there was a pretty good break. That one had no chance. Is he going to have to do the same thing? Just either make a big jump or just totally change balls? And
I honestly believe he's going to have to change balls. I just think that the ball could be losing. Everybody's been trying to play the same spot for the most part. It could be burning up, not making that turn. And you can see the ball on the back end. It's making a motion, but it's not just driving it up through the pocket. It could be using too much surface.
Yeah, he should be going through the 8-9. That's steamrolled the 9-pin.
Right. You can see the ball just basically kind of stop on the back end. Yeah, he got the break he struck, but I wouldn't want to count on that.
No, I'm going back to the original ball.
Replacing the tape in a different position.
49-pin deficit.
No. It's just, it's pretty hard to fathom that all of a sudden he was just lost as well as he bowled the first couple of games. But he's one guy you never want to count out, because if he's figured something out, he could go blowing right by you.
Chance to get within 20.
He's a little deeper there too. He crossed like 13 as the arrows there and took it out to 8. He's trying to create angle entry.
Yeah, they want to seem to keep the same break point, but how you get there, the angles through the fronts are definitely key to this match.
Doubled up. We talk about break points, and it looks like the guys are all trying to get to 8. This is the 43-foot pattern, and if you go by the rule of thumb on the sport patterns, you minus 31 from it, your break point should be around 11, 12.
Yeah, we didn't see that all week.
No. This break point is farther right, quite a bit farther, 4 boards farther right. And that might have got some guys confused too in qualifying, because they're thinking, wow, 43 feet, we should be hitting 10, 12 down lane, not 7, 8. Man, he rushed that a little bit. He fell off the shot.
It's going to just about even it up.
Yeah, he went through that. He talked about what his great success this week was keeping his weight back, and that just got, you could see it.
Not on that shot.
Yeah, his weight got ahead of his knee, and anytime you get the upper half of your body weighs more than the lower half. You get that going forward, you're probably going to fall off a shot. This is where your mind is going about 9,000 miles a minute. Got a couple frames left, and you got a pure one off your hand, so you can't rush it. You can't squeeze it. You need to strike. Norm's closed the gap a little bit.
Wow. How does that happen?
I need to see the replay. I think he thought that Messenger, a solid 6-10, and you hit the pocket.
You know, I thought
There's
I'd
some
seen it
strange
all,
things
but
going on in this match.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Have you ever seen that before?
No. I've seen literally I have seen pocket sixpence before. I don't think I've seen a pocket 610. It looked like it had a messenger coming across.
So there's one. Yeah, there's 10 pins in the rack. They look like they're on spot.
That ball went dead right.
Wow.
That went almost right of the 9-pin. Holy cow. And that's, you wouldn't think a ball that strong would be making a motion to the right. It would be going still left.
Seeing that is worth a yearly fee of Xtra Frame right there. That was something you don't know if you're ever going to see that again. Great slow-mo to catch how that ball went through the pins, and Duke
just, I think, took the lead.
Yeah, going to jump all over that.
Now this was a little different. That was actually like 14, 15, just down to 10 down lane. He didn't quite arc it as much.
But veteran moves. I mean, he tried changing balls, going to the more aggressive ball. That wasn't the right one. Went back to this with a big line change, and bang, bang. There it is.
Duke taking the lead, and then obviously now he can shut him out if he just keeps on striking.
212 maximum score for Brian LeClair. But that quick four-bagger now for Norm Duke puts him back in the lead.
225 max score for Norm. There's the fist pump.
I don't think he hasn't got a little fire left in the kettle.
Yeah, he might get that second place monkey off his back. You could see the label on that ball. You could just see the axis change direction on that ball going down lane. Brian is in a must-strike situation here. He moved right. Ball never faced up.
You know, I was going to ask you that 4 or 5 frames ago if the move could just be going straight right, and even a little bit righter than that. But
yeah,
it's a good shot.
He slid on like 17 at the foul line. He moved right, and I think he was just going to try to pipe it in there to make sure the ball faced on the back end. Man, he's got to be very disappointed. He averaged almost 250 for the tournament and lose the TV pair. And it looked like he had the TV pair in practice.
Now, I think he could still force Norm to mark. And Norm is on that right lane.
Well, he went through that shot. That was money. Dead posted. Well, he definitely needs this one to put some kind of pressure back onto Norm.
No. That's it.
.191 possible. Very disappointing, I know, for Brian after how incredibly he bowled.
9 on this shot is, I believe, 192. So Norm just needs to dial it in for one final release here on lane 24. We saw a lot of ball changes and line changes those last 5 frames for the Hall of Famer Norm Duke.
Uh-oh. He thought it was turning the corner.
Yeah, I'm speechless. Got to make it.
He's got to make it.
Yeah, he's got to make it.
3 is just
This
one.
is the lane to make it on. We've seen it a lot, but
Oh my goodness.
wow.
He's got to make it.
Wow. What, I mean, you know what? What a match. Back and forth. Unbelievable the way that played out. But Brian LeClair, a champion.
And Norm Duke finishing 4th, or 2nd again for the 4th time. Unbelievable finish for Brian LeClair. Thought he had lost the match. Norm gets it just a hair inside. Ball doesn't finish.
Craig Elliott will come out for PBA's Xtra Frame to the interview. Stick around, we'll have a
Totally shocked Norm Duke.